Time for some Rolex reflections in the race rewind of the 61st edition of the Rolex 24 at Daytona. Pole sitter Tom Blomqvist off to a great start.
Great start by a pole sitter. You see the Cadillacs getting racy early. Sebastian Bourdais in that yellow and black machine tried to get it at the front. Tom resisted, but problems early for our LMP2 contenders here today. John Ferrano aboard, some electrical issues and transmission issues. They did rebound to finish, but several laps down.
Yeah, it was a tough break for the car with IndyCar star power. But then this happened. The number 31 Cadillac into the back of the 6, the Penske Porsche. That was not the first time you'd see contact with the 31.
First big hiccup for the new GTP cars, and it was the 25 BMW M Hybrid V8 going into the garage for an extended period of time.
Felipe Nasr aboard the number 7 Penske Porsche machine suddenly had no power. Control-Alt-Delete got this machine fired back up, but they would have issues later in the event.
And then GTD stack up the 32, the Mercedes that had been very strong with Mike Skeen behind the wheel. He gets hit, goes backwards down in turn 5.
It was Jack Aitken behind the wheel of the 31 that tagged him on his outlap.
There was some argy-bargy, but there were also some issues with drivers just by themselves. Hard on the power out of that corner. May have got a nudge there from the 33. No harm, no foul. He would continue.
This was a wild ride. Look to the left. Robert McGuinness, Townsend. That's one of the most frightening rides you could have here.
No question. Supposed to have ABS. In that case, didn't look like any anti-lock braking assist. A terrifying moment for Robert McGuinness. Into the tire wall. Driver was okay. The car would continue.
Ranch 74 Riley, one of the favorites in LMP3, out early with engine issues.
They were going for 3 in a row. It was not to be today. It would not be their day. In hour 4, Turner Motorsports, the number 6 Lincoln Molly car, broken drive shaft. Heavy delay for them.
Let's scoot ahead to hour 5.
The 01 Cadillac's going to come into the scene here. Scott Dixon behind the wheel. He checks up to avoid contact and protect the car. Ends up getting rammed from behind. Damage to the diffuser. They would have to pit for repairs.
And speaking of repairs, our first glimpse, real glimpse, at the energy store unit, the battery aboard the Porsche Penske machine.
So you can see it has to go up through the floor, so that's a hefty delay when you take the garage car back to the garage in that moment.
And then in the dark, contact on the back straightaway for the number 11, the LMP, the TDS car. That would break what appeared to be the steering rack, and they were done.
Helio Castroneves trying to fight out with the wheel and engineering machine down into the brake zone. Gets it a little bit wrong, flat spots the tires, has to hit pit lane.
Hour 11, and a tire issue for the factory Corvette, the Sol C8R, but that wouldn't hurt them too much in the long run. They were a contender all race long.
Scott Dixon leaving with the fuel still connected on the 01 Cadillac. That would require a penalty. Luckily, the fueler was okay, just a miscommunication at a critical time.
We had some fireworks last night. We also had some cars having some big issues. This is one of the LMP3 machines, the 43 entries. You say big engine problem there.
Doesn't matter how many of these you've won, how experienced the driver lineup is. The Rolex 24 doesn't make anybody immune, and unfortunately for Cadillac Racing's 31, the Wheel and Action Express machine, it spent time behind the wall as well.
Gearbox issues. Now the number 6 tucks it down to the inside in the King, just too shallow of an angle, runs out of road. Big ride there through the Rolex banners.
Remember the Corvette tire issue? Well, wasn't the only one. Look at this.
Yeah, the Aston Martin losing a left rear, probably on an outlap. Have to drag that left rear all the way back around 3 miles back to pit lane.
This car was leading in GTD, the 32 car that is, as you saw off to the side of the 57 we were on board with. Mike Skeen had done a stunning job. Team caught off, championship contenders. Heavy delay in the garage area, they would return.
The Sean Creech Motorsport LMP3 car, Townsend, it looked like it was going to dominate, and there were some issues that grounded them in their pit box for a considerable amount of time.
They had such a beautiful run going, so frustrating. The mechanics working to problem solve, back in the cockpit, back to the rear end, trying to get the gearbox to cooperate.
High Class Racing had a terrible hit. Watch this. Oh, it doesn't get any better every time you watch it.
That was a big one, just high speed approach there to the Lamar chicane, just gets it a little bit wrong, gets up and over the curb, no recovery. Their day was done.
Hour 22, the Penske Porsche finally given up Big smoke on the banking. On board, listen. That is something catastrophic in the drive line.
There was some phenomenal GT racing all race long. This is GT Detroit, and the fight between the Corvette, the Lexus, and the Mercedes was epic.
Just runs out wide there, probably gets into the ABS by diving into that corner a bit too deep. ABS kicks in, Corvette sneaks by.
And then just a ruthless battle on the restart, but in the end, Diff, it was all this guy, the 60 car, Tom Blomqvist, showing all of the excellence from the earlier part of the race all the way through to the end.
How about this for a finish? 0.01 of a second. James Allen spoiled Ben Hanley's party right on the line at the end of the race to win LMP2.
Heartbreak for the CrowdStrike entry there. They thought they had it in the bag.
Maro England, his Mercedes for WeatherTech Racing. They won. And here's Cooper McNeil winning for the first time, exhausted and elated at the same time. Finally was going to get that Rolex wristwatch, but overall, the honors belong to Meyer Shank Racing, defending their win of a year ago. Colin Brown, Simon Pagenaud, Tom Blomqvist, and Spider-Man Elio Castro Neves.